Yeah. So when we all linked arms,
It's crazy now.
or whatever, like she turned around and linked arms this way.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If we can take our seats, we'll get started with this very special Sukkot Shabbat. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today. We begin with Hine Mato, how good it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together. Hine Mato Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Mato Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Mato Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. My name is Cantor Dennis Sagan, for those of you who perhaps have forgotten this face over the course of the last month. Probably not. I'm very grateful to see so many of you here dwelling in the Sukkah, praying in the Sukkah. If you need, we do have prayer books up at the front. We will be using, of course, Mishkan's Tefillah, and we will be welcoming the presidents of our brotherhood and our sisterhood, Heather Miller and Jay Seiden, to light our Shabbat candles. They are hiding right by the challah, nice and protected.
Okay.
And we will all please rise.
You guys can bring them up front. They're just hiding back there for now. But if you need, here,
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all of us, behold them. So may we, by our lives, give light to all those who behold us. As the brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Anybody can light a candle in the jar. Come on.
That's wonderful. You may be seated. Briefly, of course. We will be continuing. We've now blessed Shabbat with song. We've blessed Shabbat with light. And now we are going to welcome our Sabbath bride. We don't really have a door to welcome her in, but we're going to assume that she's going to come into the Sukkah, right? And so what we will do is we'll sing together. L'chadodi can be found on page 20, I believe.
Yes.
Yep, okay, you go me. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and we will rise together on verse 9. Yalla la 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 l'chadodi. השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתחילה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם לסוכה, סוף מעשה התעוררי, כי האורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. שלום, עטרת צבאה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוכנו עם סגולה, בואי קלה, page 28. 34, we continue standing as we close our eyes and sing the watchword of our faith, Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 You may be seated. We will chant together Ve'ahavta, which is on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם נאות על ידיך והיו לך שותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching and singing together. Page 40, Nichamocha. take a minute, close your eyes, and listen. Hear the sounds of the world. Here we are in our Sukkah, experiencing the elements, hearing the world. Now open your eyes and look up. Some of you may be able to see a star or two, although we are, of course, here in the city. And we've got lots going on and lots of clouds. But we are in this fragile, temporary community. This house that we have built for such a short period of time. Our children have taken the time to decorate this fragile location with their beautiful, beautiful decorations. And we dwell here knowing that just like this structure, life is not permanent either. We remember that God is here as a shelter of peace amongst these elements, but we are all fragile. We are all in need of the love and support of each other and of our God in order to truly feel that sense of shalom, that sense of peace. That's not very peaceful. But with the idea that together we can find peace, we sing Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. We read together in the middle of page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporech sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. I ask that you now please rise for the Amidah, beginning on page 46. Adonai sefatitach ufiyah b'tehilatecha Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Elohei Bilha, Elohei Zilpah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor HaRa, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei למען שמו יהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיר ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, לחיי הכל אתה רק להושיע, מוריד אתה, מחכה חיים וחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסירים, ומקיים אמונתו, לישני עפר, ניחמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך מנהיג ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, לחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלנו חסנה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You may be seated. Page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present one, page 57. May we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land and Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, in whom alone we serve and reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, יעלה ויבוא ויזכר זיכרוננו לזיכרון כל עמך בית ישראל לפניך לטובה לפנינו לחסד ולרחמים לחיים ולשלום ליום חג הסוכות הזה זוכרנו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה אמן ופוקדנו בו לברכה, והושיענו בו לחיים. Our God and God of our fathers and mothers, on this day of Sukkot, be mindful of us and of your people Israel, for good, for love, for compassion, life, and peace. Remember us for well-being. Amen. Visit us with blessing. Amen. And help us to a fuller life. Amen. We now take a moment for our own private prayers, our silent thoughts, our hopes, our desires for this Sukkot and beyond. Take a few moments now. we now take a moment to bring into our hearts those in need of a speedy healing, those in need of refuah shalema in our community and beyond. In our community, we are specifically thinking of today Mira Adler, Susan Artunian, Ann Ballinger, Lee Batterman, Earl Benton, Florence Benton, Ellen Cervantes, Daryl Childers, Dan Constantino, Maria Deed, Nadja Dvorkin, Harriet Dolgan, Rabbi Stephen Einstein, Emmeline Fries, Jeff Haber, Barbara Heimoff, Don Hatch, Barry Horowitz, Michelle Kaufman, Gail Kessel, Mike Kibble, Susan Kibble, Wendy Kielsmeyer, Tammy Klein, Chad Lamoureux, Ari Lavi, Steve Lesser, Keith McCaney, Teresa Michaels, Terry O'Brien, Cielo Gianna Pena, Avi Perry, Arlene Rusecnia, Bonnie Richmond, Robert Ross, Larry Rubin, Dr. Robert Safran, Denise Sagan, Sydney Scramenti, Jerry Sirota, Ed Shaman, Janet Schomer, Ginger Schulman, Dean Stapleton, Lee Sterling, Roz Whitesides, Renee Zanelli, Aaron Ben Youssef, Baruch Ben David, Bonaliba Bat Ruth, David Aaron Ben Esther, Esther Malka Chana Bat Batya Ruth, Barav Chana Bat Moshe Veriza Itka, Michael Gedalia Ben Avraham Avinu Basara Emanu, Rivka Bat Nahama, Sarah Bat Alisheva, Shira Chana Bat Yehudit Reina Bat Chana Kamina, Yosef Ben Latifa Adina, and Yosef Ben Moshe. As I pass my hand around the community, please add those names that you wish to allow.
Tom Crosby. Stuart Day, Jody Day, Chuck Britton.
Sid Markovich.
Jerry Estrada.
Heidi. John Gadsden.
Ashley Sirota.
We continue with Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. Which can be found, I believe, on page 252 if you wish to follow along.
To make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We shall bear and let us say, Amen.
May all those whose names we said aloud and those names which are in our hearts be blessed with a complete and speedy healing of body, mind, and soul, as we say together. Amen. At this time, it is my honor and my pleasure to welcome up our guest for the evening, Barak Morag. Barak and his family lived in kibbutz near Oz for 8 years before their lives were forever changed on October 7th. They survived 9 harrowing hours during the Hamas attack, and we welcome him today to share his story bravery, resilience, and hope. Welcome.
They're a little taller than the cantor. Yeah, I'm pretty small, sorry.
Mark.
You can't get the mic up.
Yeah, I can get it. I can't twist it.
Yeah, yeah. Mark's our sound guy.
I always try first to do it alone and then ask for help. So. So good evening everyone, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for having me. I am very excited. It's my first time doing it on a way court. It's my first time in the United States. I just arrived yesterday. So first of all, thank you very much. And I'm sorry in ahead if I'll feel a little slower or maybe my voice will be a little shaky. I'm also very excited because of all the events of the last 48 hours, which got me during my flight time. So thank you, and I hope I will make it as best as I can. I'm here to share with you my personal story. Unfortunately, it's one of too many stories, but it's important for me that you will hear it firsthand. And I will try to do it as smooth as I can in this situation. So thank you very much. So as the cantor told you, my name is Barak, and I lived in Kibbutz Nir Oz, which I will tell you about in the past 8 years. My wife is from Kibbutz Nir Oz. Our family is there since 1969, and we moved there in 2015. This is my family, me, Barak, my wife Ziv, and my kids, Gaia, my daughter Gaia, and my son Itamar. I don't know if many of you heard of Kibbutz Nir Oz before October 7th. One of you here told me that he visited, but it wasn't a very famous place before. It's a very small kibbutz, just let's say a mile from the Gaza Strip border. We used to have a very simple, very happy life in this kibbutz. It was all about community. It was all about taking care of each other. It was all about living simple life, cultivating the lands, or doing whatever you do, but being part of this project. Celebrating the holidays together, raising our kids together most of the time, outside, driving our bicycles around, hardly cars inside, and just, trying to be as close together in a community as we can. And I have to say that this last hour and a half here showed me the community that you guys hold here, and it's very beautiful. It made me very emotional, and I was very excited to see it. And our thing was, as I said, living in a community, and living in a community together is one of the reasons I'm here. But everything we had, as I said, as Jenna said, the cantor said, changed in an instant, in the day. We all know the date and the time. And I will try to tell you a little about the community, about what we had in the kibbutz, and then I will share with you my personal story. I brought up some stats, some data, some information that you can see about our community story. I don't know why the TV rejects my pointer. I guess it's but when I point the floor you can see it, but when I point the TV you don't see it, so I will leave it. The attack on our kibbutz and our small community on October 7th, very early in the morning, before 7 a.m., was very vast. 300 to 500 armed terrorists. Some of them wearing uniforms, some of them are what might be called civilians, but carrying weapons, penetrated our community, our kibbutz. Later, back and forward waves of 500 to 700 civilians, looters, who arrived following the information about the fallen community that can be looted. So they came and they took whatever they could, and as you can see in the picture below, burnt most of our houses. I'll move a little. I'll take it with my hand and then I can walk around. Yeah, so as I said, 300 to 500 terrorists were carrying weapons, 500 to 700 civilian looters. Our emergency squad, the first response team, is 8 men who left their houses with their rifles and went out to fight. They are supposed to hold the community for 15 minutes until the IDF arrives. Unfortunately, and that's the most sad and special things in Kibbutz Nir Oz's story, the first soldier to arrive to Kibbutz Nir Oz arrived at 1:30 p.m., which is 7 hours after the event started, and 30 minutes after the terrorists already left back to Gaza. So the IDF did not shoot a single bullet. Our response team held the situation for more than 2 hours, which, as I said, they're supposed to hold for 15. So, and after 2 hours, the last ones of them were either killed, kidnapped, or managed to somehow get back to their houses. So for the first 2 hours, we had this defense of 8 men, and later we were left on our own. 217 out of 223 houses were broken into by the Hamas. Only 6 houses were not broken into. More than 100 houses were burnt. 80% of the houses are in demolish status. They are not uninhabitable, even if it doesn't look like they are broken and destroyed from the inside. About 400 residents of the kibbutz were present that day. That's just a little less than the total people lived in Nir Oz. We were like 415 people, so 400 people were present. And at that day, 117 of the 400 were either kidnapped or murdered. That's 1 of 4. And 41 were murdered that day. 76 were kidnapped alive. 76 were kidnapped, 67 of them alive. And today, and I really hope it's the last time I use this sentence, 9 of our people are still held in Gaza. Hopefully by Monday morning they will be back home. 5 of them we know that are dead, and 4 of them are alive. I think I didn't follow all the information, but I think we know now. I hope they're alive, and they will be back to their families on Monday. That's the biggest thing, the most important thing out of everything. I really hope I can delete this last line of the data by the beginning of next week. I'll show you some pictures about that show how much freedom and how much time to do whatever they wanted the terrorists that were in our kibbutz had, because, again, as I said, they had no one fought back besides our response team. No one was there to fight or protect us. So they had time to destroy and vandalize also public buildings. Buildings that if you try to think about it like in operation way, they had nothing to do there. They didn't kill no one, they didn't take no one from those buildings, but yet they had the time to loot, destroy, and vandalize those buildings, such as the dining room that you can see the burnt kitchen, and they destroyed the shut doors. They shut the way in. One of our kindergartens, it's called Gan Tut. Tut is a strawberry in Hebrew. So that's the kindergarten that they, again, looted, burnt, and left like that. And those 2 buildings are examples for the free time that the terrorists had in our community to do whatever they wanted. Now I will try to zoom in to focus into my own personal story. I will try to do it quickly sometimes. I'm sorry, but sometimes it takes longer than I planned. But I'll try to do it as quick as I can. And I really want you to, like, if it's too much, because it can get graphic, so I'm trying to do it as less graphic as I can, but if it is, let me know, okay? And if someone has questions, please ask, okay? So, as you can see, we were in our safe room from 6:29 a.m. until 3 p.m. Every house in Israel built after 1991 must have a safe room. The safe rooms are like personal shelters in the houses. They are made for two purposes. One is to protect you from rockets. The other one, as we learned, luckily for us, is to protect you from fire. As long as the door is closed, it's protects you from fire. Unfortunately, those doors are not bulletproof, as many of our friends were wounded or murdered with shots through the doors. And also, they are made in a way that you can open it from the outside. It's made for the rescue teams to be able to get in an emergency, but we know who were the ones who got to those doors before the emergency teams and could open them. And so in our community, the only difference between people like me who stand here and talking to people who were either murdered or kidnapped is if they could open their door or they couldn't open the door, okay? So at 6:29 a.m., the alarms went off for the first time. And in our location, which is, as I showed you, a mile from the Gaza Strip, we have officially 15, but it's actually like 12 seconds to protect ourselves in the case of alarm. So all of us, obviously, keep the kids always sleeping in the safe room. That's the kids' bedroom. So the kids were sleeping in their beds in the safe room. We were sleeping in our bedroom. We heard the alarm. We got out of bed. And we had the drill every time there was an alarm in the middle of the night out of nowhere. We run very quickly to the kids' bedroom, to the safe room. If we have enough time, we grab our phones on the way to be updated. Quietly close the door behind us, wait for 2 minutes, and we only pray for one thing, that the kids won't wake up, so we can go back to bed. Also on a Saturday morning at 6:29 a.m., that was our thought. The kids will remain sleeping, and we can go back to bed. Very quickly we understood that the situation is very different. From 6:29 to 6:35, 6:40, we had more than 10 alarms in a row. So we understood that something is happening. And we also had a drill for these cases when the situation gets more tense for a few days. So we very quickly pack some things, bring the car, and drive somewhere. We're going to the south, if you know, Mitzpe Ramon, Sde Boker, one of those places in the desert. We stay there, we figure out what's going on, and then we decide if we go back home or we're going somewhere else for a few days. We used to say that we have 355 days of heaven and 10 days of unplanned vacations a year. So we thought that's what we're going to do. But because there were many alarms in a row, I didn't go out to bring the suitcases or the cars. And thankfully I didn't go, because if I was going, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you. Because now we know that at this time, at 6:45, there were already tens of terrorists in the kibbutz. So we went to this room, we closed the door behind us, we are waiting quietly to see what is going on. Trying to catch as much information as we can, through our phones. Talking to friends, we understand that basically everyone in Israel is in their shelters in this time. And slowly we started receiving the images of what happened in Ofakim, Sderot, Be'eri, the terrorists that penetrated. And the funny thing is, there is always a conflict between our hearts and our minds. And my mind knew what is going on, but my heart told me, that's bullshit. It's AI, they're fooling us, it's not happening. But it did. At 7 a.m., one of our friends, one of you asked me about him, so I will say his name, Segi Dekelchen, you'd see you there, that was later taken hostage to Gaza and released after 498 days. He was outside and he sent a voice message to all of us saying, there are terrorists in the kibbutz, I see them, lock yourself in. A little spoiler for the rest of the story. Lucky for us, my wife, always the wife does it, was smart enough to buy a lock for our safe room's door. She bought it like 7 years ago. Why she did it, I don't know, just like someone offered it, a friend of us. He said, I sell it, I install it, if you want it, you're welcome. So she bought it. It cost 100 shekels, which is less than $30 US. And when we're trying to joke, we say that's the price for 4 people. So lucky for us, we had this lock, and you can see the before and the after. And those 2 centimeters of metal stuck into the frame of the door was the difference between the terrorists able to open our doors and take us, and for them not being able to open the door and take us. So we locked ourselves in at 7 a.m. and we're just waiting. Lucky for us, the kids kept sleeping, so we could try to think what we're gonna do. And we just waited. We already know that the terrorists in the kibbutz, and we hear cars, we hear motorcycles, we hear gunfire around from distance. You can think maybe it's from the border because you used to hear sometimes fire from the border. Maybe it's closer, you don't really know because you're locked inside the room behind glass and metal window and behind a thick door. So you're trying to think what to do, and you just stay there and wait. At around 8:20 a.m. we already have no electricity. They cut off the electricity, they destroy the generators, so we just sit there in the dark without any airflow, no AC, no windows because it's closed, and we just have to wait and wait and wait. And slowly we started hearing reports from our friends in closer areas to our house saying that they have terrorists in their houses, that they hear gunfire, that they're trying to break the doors. And the sounds and the reports got closer and closer to us until around 9:30 a.m. we heard a very big mess, a lot of cars, a lot of people yelling and shouting in Arabic just around our house, behind our window. Our window was directing the house of one of the most famous families. I say famous, not really, but the Bibas family that lived right behind us. We didn't know what is going on over there back then, but we understood later what was all the noise and mess that we heard, and we understood that everything is getting closer to us and it's surrounding us. So we had to make a decision what we're gonna do. And we understood that our door is locked. And we had a small, a chat with the eyes, understanding that this lock is gonna save us. Let's be with the kids. So we split into 2 couples. My wife and my daughter, she was 7.5 back then, in her bed, hiding under the blankets. I know now, I didn't know it then, but I know that we're having a chat about how to react in case they will be able to break into our room, how to react, what to do, what to say. And I was with my son. He was almost 4 back then. He's a November kid, so he was almost 4 in October. And I was with him in his bed. I was lying on top of him, covering him with my body. And my only thought was that if they shoot at our door, because I knew they shoot at doors, so they will hit me and not him. So I was just covering him with my body. And we were staring at each other's eyes. Of course, we didn't speak because we're 2 men. So we just waited. But I have very clear visions from those minutes of, you saw his big blue eyes in the picture, of his big blue eyes staring into my not big and not blue eyes from very close, and he understood the situation. My nose dripped cold sweat on his face, and he was lying, a 3-year-old kid, in quiet, not saying a single word the entire time. And we just waited and waited and waited until 10 and 2 minutes exactly. I know the exact hour because I just looked at my phone to see what's the time. At 10 and 2 minutes, we heard people running in our house, and we heard an Arabic yell. I speak a little Arabic. What they yelled was, there are people inside. The second after I heard this yelling, we hear the door handle, the spring of the handle going down, someone trying to pull the door back, and the door won't open. The lock held. Those seconds were the first time that I thought that our story is over. It will take a minute, 2 minutes, 20 minutes, but it's done. They're here, they're gonna take us. At this stage, I didn't know they're taking hostages. I only thought they're gonna break in, do whatever they do to us, and kill us. And once they tried to open the door and it didn't work, I could understand that they were confused for a second, because no one was holding the door against them. They could take the handle down, but the door won't open. So they stopped for a second, trying to figure out what is going on. And immediately after, they started pulling the door right and left, up and down, trying to pull it back very aggressively, and banging on the door with their palms, like, very strongly. And they yelled at us through the door in Hebrew and English. They didn't speak Arabic. They spoke Hebrew and English. Open the door. Open the door now. If you come out, we will not kill you. If you won't open the door, we will blow up the house. Trying to threat us, trying to make us come out. Of course, we didn't believe it. Of course, we didn't respond. And lucky for us, the kids kept quiet. They didn't say a single word during this entire time. While they're trying to break the door, we hear them basically destroying our house behind it. You hear things breaking, you hear things falling, you hear doors banging. They were looking for, I don't know, money, jewelries. We had some gold that my father-in-law's aunt, she survived Auschwitz, and this gold was waiting for her in her home in Hungary. After the war, they got back to this home, they found this gold, and my wife got these little pieces of gold. We were supposed to make a ring out of it. We didn't find it after the events. I guess that's the things they were looking for, even though they took very hilarious things. They took all kind of, kitchen supplies, shoes, whatever, but I don't know what they took from our house, but they were looking for money and jewelries, and we heard them destroying the house, and we were staying on the beds quietly, and this situation lasted for 30 minutes. During those 30 minutes, as I said, we kept completely quiet. The only conversation between us took place somewhere in the middle for a few seconds while we all said goodbye to each other, understanding that our lives are about to end, and apologizing for the kids that we promised them that they would be safe, but we couldn't do it. At 10:30, they just left. Gone. As if they'd given up on us. They couldn't break in, they didn't find us, they just gone. Completely quiet. Suspiciously quiet. We got out of beds, and this time we were talking and saying, okay, what we're gonna do? I said, they left, they gave up on us. I'll open the door, I'll go to the kitchen, I'll bring a knife, so we have some defense in case they come back. My wife said, no, you don't go out there, you don't know, even if there is like 1% chance that they did booby trap the door, don't touch it. So we said, okay, let's wait for the IDF to arrive. That's at 10:30. 10:40, 10 minutes later, and they're back in our house. Again, trying to break the door, again, trying to call us to come in. And 2-3 minutes later, we hear them spilling liquids, probably gasoline, and immediately you can hear the flames from behind the door. 2 minutes later, and you have the black smoke coming through the door. And now, it's 10:35, 10:30 a.m., our battle changed from trying to avoid them to open the door to how we survive in a closed room with the smoke coming through the door. Very quickly, thanks to our good friends that we advised, we realized that we have to do some things. The first thing is go to the floor. Smoke goes up, you have to go down. Cover the kids' faces with cloths and put a wet blanket under the door. We have blanket, but we have no water. So we stood up, everyone peed on the blanket. And of course, a wet blanket is good if you have a pasta pot burning in your kitchen, but not if the entire house is on fire. So it didn't help at all, but that was the hope we had. And very quickly we understood that we have to do more than that. So we were all together on the floor, as farther away from the door and closest to the window, because at that stage I already understood that the only way we will have out will be through this window, which is 2 layers of window, but that's the thing we have. At some point, around 11 a.m., we cracked a small, I'm sorry, not yet. That's the window when it's closed. When it's closed, you have like this less than half an inch of a crack that gives you some light, and if you open the glass, then you have some oxygen, but the glass is closed. And so at around 11:15, 11:30, after like 45 minutes in this smoke and fire, that we understand that we have to do something, and I did whatever one of you would do, because, as I always say, we really didn't understand how bad things were. So I took my phone and I called to the fire department, telling them, "Hi, I have a fire in my house, please come." And the fire department, like everyone else in our country, didn't understand how bad things were, so they did what they do, and they sent me a text message. This text message comes with a link. In the link, you share your location, and they send the location to this, they send the trucks to this location. Of course, there is no GPS reception, because the IDF destroyed it. You can hardly send a message, and it was hopeless. But we tried and tried. I sent this message to my friends that they will try to share our location through Google Maps or whatever. And I kept calling the fire department for almost an hour. And at 12:15, maybe a little earlier, let's say 12, I had my final call with the fire department. I told the lady, the operator that was talking to me, my location doesn't matter. You remember the picture you saw in the previous slide? The entire kibbutz is on fire. Just send jets to spill water on the kibbutz. And she told me, "I'm sorry, we can't make it. You'll have to survive." So that's the second time that day we understand we were left alone, and we have to survive on our own. So after a small conversation aside, because we understood that the kids getting into a bad situation. The kids were on the floor, they were falling asleep and waking up, and falling asleep and waking up. And every time they fell asleep, we are sure they are dying, so we wake them up. And they mad at us for waking them up. And every time they wake up, they throw out. They had like a very thick, black liquid vomit that they threw out. Apparently it's a good thing, we didn't know it back then. It's the body's way to get rid of the ashes, the smoke that they are breathing, but it's very scary in real time. So we decided that we have to do something. So we set aside and we spoke. And we said, okay, we have 2 options. We have certain death. If we're gonna wait, it will take as much time as it takes, but the smoke will kill us. Or we can take a risk, and it's probably 50-50. Let's open the window. If they see us, they'll come, they'll shoot us. And if they won't see us, we'll be able to breathe for a while. So we decided that we're going to open a small crack in the window, which was just a little more than the crack you see in the picture. We were trying to calculate if the crack we're going to open will allow them to stick a rifle through the window or not. And I was standing and watching the window, only with my ears, because you cannot see nothing through this crack, so you can only listen. And the rest of the family was on the floor below me, because I wanted them to be under the windows in case they do manage to stick the weapons through the window. They will probably shoot forwards and not downwards. And since 12:30, I was standing with my ear against the window and listening. And every time I hear something suspicious, I slam the door. And I just kept doing it until 2 p.m. At 2 p.m., while the situation in the house remains the same, a little more oxygen, but still everyone is having a very hard time to breathe. At 2 p.m., I hear people walking outside my window. And I panicked and slammed the metal and the glass. And once you do it, it shakes and makes a very big noise of metal to metal, the frame and the window. And once I did it, and the sound came, I heard people yelling in Hebrew outside my window. They were yelling in Hebrew, someone is shooting at us, someone is shooting at us. They thought the sound of the window is gunfire. And I had 3 clicks immediately in my head. The first was Hebrew. The second was the term they used was the term they teach soldiers in the IDF to report once people are shooting at you. And the third thing was that immediately after they yelled, I heard someone else yelling, "It's not fire, it's the window," and I recognized that man's voice. It was someone from the kibbutz. So I said 1 + 1 + 1 is 3, we're safe. I was brave enough to open the glass layer, but I wasn't brave enough to open the metal. I didn't want to see what is behind it, and started yelling, "We are here, we are alive, we need you to save us." And then from the other side, they yelled it back to me in Hebrew, "Open the window with your hands out," like in the Hollywood movies. So I had to stick my hands through this little crack of window, shove the big heavy window aside, and stand with my hands up. Then I could lift both of them. And I see in front of me 15 IDF soldiers. Everyone is aiming the weapons at me. I'm blinded because all those laser beams are in my face. And once I opened the window, I heard my wife and kids screaming behind me, because the moment that the light got into the room, you could see 2 things. First, the entire room is filled with black smoke up to like 50 centimeters from the floor. And all the smoke was filled with the laser beams like in those spy movies. And it was very scary. The soldiers saw me, they don't know who I am, they don't know who is holding me hostage there, so they're aiming the weapons at me. The guy that I saw, that I recognized his voice, yelled, "Don't shoot, it's Barak, I know him." So they ran to me, to the window, looked inside with the rifles, saw 4 of us, and told us the worst thing they could say, "Okay, close the window and wait." I understand why they say so. They just arrived to the kibbutz less than 10 minutes before it. We were one of the first families they met. They don't know what is waiting for them just across the corner in the bushes near the house. They couldn't take us out. But it was very heartbreaking and disappointing, but we had no choice. So we closed the window, but after they left, I felt safer to open the window like 15 centimeters. And I think looking backwards that the 15-20 centimeters window that allowed the oxygen to flow in was the thing that saved our life. And with the 2 centimeters crack, we wouldn't survive for much longer. We had to wait for another hour, and at 3 p.m., another group of soldiers arrived, this time to take us out. And they took us out the window. They treated us, my daughter, she was exhausted, she couldn't stand on her feet, so they had to give her like sugared water so she can have some available energy. And then we had to run to a place when everyone was kept, all the survivors. And we started the next phase of our story. But this is very shortly what happened in one of too many rooms for those 9 hours or more in our kibbutz. The day after, when I came back to take a look at the house before we left the kibbutz forever, I found my house. The first picture in your left, my right, is the living room, and the black door you see in the end of it is the safe room's door. In the middle picture, you can see the safe room itself, how it survived the fire while the fire reached all the way to its door. And on the last picture, you can see the window I was standing at, and you can see my fingerprints, the black fingerprints on the top of the window that I was holding and listening. I'm sorry I can't point it, but right here you can see how I was standing, holding the window with my hands. And this is the picture that we took 2 minutes after we left the house. I don't know why, but I told my wife, I had my son in my hand, so I told my wife, "Ziv, take a picture of the house." So you can see the house on fire, you can see the flames, you can see the open window we came out from. And we had to run to this shelter where we spent the night. You are the first people I'm showing this picture of me. You can see my hands still have ashes on it, and you see I'm not in the best situation. You see my kids being treated by the IDF doctor, and all of our people sleeping on the floors of this shelter for the night because we spent the first night and it was only the day after we left. This is my storage. I found it the day after when I came to see if I can take something from the house, all looted, all to the ground. It's funny to say, but the things that were missing from the storage were suitcases, because later we found out that almost from every house they took the suitcases, so it would be easier for them to grab the stuff that they took from the houses and go back to the Gaza Strip. And when everything was thrown on the ground. This is a little tour in our house. And our refrigerator, you know, I will tell you a funny story because we just remembered it. My wife reminded it to me like a few weeks ago when we saw this picture of the refrigerator. We were supposed to have a guest that day, friends that were supposed to come over. We were supposed to have like a barbecue, and I had steaks in the refrigerator, steaks that were waiting for the lunch. And like a ridiculous amount of time after the events, like 6-7 months after, my son Itamar, he came to me and said, "Dad, what about the steaks to be frosted?" Did they take it? Did they eat it? I don't know, it's probably well done in the refrigerator. I have no idea, but it was funny that you remember that thing. So this is the front of our house. You see the barbecue, back to the previous story. But that is our house, that's what's left of it. Our next door neighbors, you can see their door over here. We live very close to each other. Another family with kids the same ages as ours. And it's important to me, that's the only thing I tell about other people. Our neighbor Tamir, he was part of the response team. He went out to fight, he left his wife and 2 kids at home. Told them to lock the door. And the last message he texted to his wife was, "Do not open the door, even if you hear my voice," because they understood that they might force them to go to their families. And that's the last thing we know from him. He was taken hostage that day. Later we found out that he was killed that day and the Hamas took his body. Hopefully his body will be back for to have a closure to this story next week. And even today, where we live in the city of Kiryat Gat, us and the Adar family, we live in the same floor next door to each other because it was very important for us to keep this situation for the kids as they know it. I won't go deeply into this because we're short in time and I said a lot, and this is my wife's family, the Shalef family from Kibbutz Nir Oz, as I told you. Her parents were there since 1969. There are 5 siblings. My wife was the only one for the siblings living in Kibbutz Nir Oz. While we were in our shelter, we knew that in their house, in my in-laws' house, my father-in-law and their older brother Tal are there. My father-in-law David and their older son Tal are there. My mother-in-law, luckily for us, wasn't home, she was abroad. Of course, to make it any easier for us, she was in Egypt, in Cairo, but that's another story, but she was safe. And we didn't know what is going on in their house. We couldn't reach them. We tried to call, we tried WhatsApp, we tried emails, we tried the home number, we tried SMS. Nothing came through, no reply. Once we were rescued, we asked if someone knows what's going on over there, what's going on with there. And the only thing we got was the house is on fire, there is no one in the house. The day after, on October 8th, 2023, the IDF reported us that both David, my father-in-law, and Tal, my brother-in-law, are apparently hostages in Gaza in a status of missing because there were no any documentary of them, no videos, no photos of them being taken, but their phones were located signaling from the Gaza Strip, so they're considered to be hostages. That's the before, and that's the after. And we became part of the hostage families for 1 month until November 8th. At November 8th, while we were still in the hotel in Eilat, we were called, me and my wife, to come to the office. At the office there were an IDF officer and a police officer. And they told us that both David and Tal were murdered in the house. Their bodies were burnt with the house, and it took a month to recover some body remains from that house, and they were able to extract DNA. And it's a crazy thing to say, but if you look at it in the November 23 perspectives, we were almost lucky to have a closure, to know what happened to our relatives, and to have a funeral. So that's from the funeral. If some of you read Hebrew, so the stone says, Saba ani ohev otcha Itamar, it says, Grandpa, I love you, Itamar. Because the kids couldn't come to the funeral, we were only allowed to have 10 people in the funeral because of this situation. So we did the ceremonies elsewhere, and then the funerals in the kibbutz. Because we had 2 funerals, we argued the IDF and we were allowed to bring 15 people. But yeah, and that's my kids with the picture in the first Memorial Day and in the graves. And this is our community being evacuated to Eilat. I won't delay, I won't keep you in this, but we left to Eilat. Good people provided us. The picture you see of the table with the clothes and everything was waited for us the day we arrived there on October 8th. The people of Eilat took care of us, having clothes, hygienes, diapers, food, whatever we needed. You know, I arrived to Eilat wearing boxers, t-shirts, barefooted, and with the phone in my hand. That's all I had when I arrived to Eilat. So the good people of Eilat took care of our first 3 needs, and then good people from Israel and good people from all over the world took care of the rest of our needs, and still do. And thank you for that. Our community stayed in Eilat for 3 months. Once we left Eilat, we tried to do a project of summarizing, you know, like a timeline of our life. So you can see left, right, near Oz, the big break of October 7th, the time in Eilat on the beach, and then moving to the buildings in Kiryat Gat for the temporary, you know, it's a very Israeli thing to say like a permanent temporary location. Only Israeli can make up permanent temporary. But, and the future with a question mark and the hoping for a bright future with the pictures. We moved to Kiryat Gat. This is where we live now in those buildings that provided to us from, after a very big project that our community, our people did with the government, with the contractors, and we found those places they can hold almost all of our community, 85% of the community, whoever wanted, has an apartment in this project, and we live there until our kibbutz will be rebuilt, or until we will find the place we want to be in. Unfortunately, many of us, and I say that, I really think it's unfortunately, but that's the situation, are not willing to return to Nir Oz. My family is one of those families who decided that we cannot go back because of the trauma, because of what happened, because of the risk. You know, I don't feel that I have the right to put my kids in such risk again. So we grouped up a bunch of families, and we ended up with 50 families, 50 households, most of the families with kids, that decided that we want to stay together as a community. And we decided that the important thing is the people and it's not the place. And we created this initiative that's called Staying Together. And we found another kibbutz called Beit Nir. It's in the middle of Israel, near Bet Shemesh, if you know, that is willing to accept all of us together as a group of 50 households, 50 families. They have the place, they have the good wills to do it, and of course, like every good thing, every good idea, the problem is always financial. So with the great help of many good people, we managed to raise most of the money we need for this project, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, I hope maximum, we will move to our new houses in Kibbutz Beit Nir. And because when we left to the government told us that we will build new houses for you. You will receive it, no doubt, but it will be in Oz. And once we said that if we don't want to, what we're gonna do? So they said, you'll have to figure out your way. We negotiated with the government. They did help us somehow by discounting the lands. Not 100% discount, 66% discount. But the rest we have to figure out ourselves. So we went out with this initiative. We traveled, many of us traveled. I'm here on my own, by the way, as myself, but I have to tell you this. So we traveled in Israel, we traveled in the United States, and as I said, we managed to collect most of the money that we needed for this project. We don't want it to be a project of like handout. We decided that we only collect the amount that covers some percent of the house for each family, so the families will complete the rest from their own funds, because it's a good sense of ability. It's important for people to be committed to the project once you put also your own into it. And as I said, it's all about staying together, and no matter where, but with whom. And this is the kibbutz Bet Nir, that is willing to accept us, and we will move there, hopefully. And I really want to thank you all for listening to me. I really want to thank you for having me over. I really want to thank you in person and in general for all the help we received, all the love, all the big hugs that we got from all the great Jewish American community. Really, it's unbelievable, the love we received. The people like Jonathan here that I met, basically coincidentally, because I was the one guiding him when he came to visit Niroz. And all the people I meet that want to come and see, and they guide them around the kibbutz, telling them their story. The love that we receive, the hope that we receive, and the ability to see a bright future for us through this experience is incredible. I really want to thank you for that. And I'm sorry that it took a little longer than we were supposed to. And I'm sorry for destroying your Shabbat evening with those awful stories. But really, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, I can do it like this. I can sit and do like a talk around and answer questions. I don't know if you have to continue with the.
We'll conclude, and then we'll have our own egg, and maybe during that.
Okay, so like exactly. So again, thank you very much, and I'm very. It's very hard for me to say it, but because I never was on the receiving side of help, but any help is incredible. So if any of you want to help us with this Staying Together initiative, so in the flyers you received, you have this QR, and also on the screen you have this QR, and only if you feel like really, you don't have to listening and yes, this. So you have this QR over there that if you film it with your phone camera, it will lead you to the website where you can do like small donations or with your credit cards, and yeah. So really, you don't have to, but it's important for me to give you the option. And again, thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach. Thank you.
We will also put the QR code in this week's weekly email. So for those of you who either lose the card or such, or don't wish to on Shabbos do it, there are opportunities, of course. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. It's so important that we bear witness and that we are here and that we honor those who have passed and celebrate the resilience and the hope for the future, especially this week. So before we conclude, there's a prayer called Achenu, which is an ancient prayer that is a hope for those held hostage, our Jewish family and around the world. So Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael, for all our family of the house of Israel, fellow Jews who face anguish and captivity, whether on sea or land, may the divine have compassion upon them and bring them from distress to relief, from darkness to light, from subjugation to redemption, now, speedily, soon. And we all say, Amen. Amen. May this week truly bring us blessing. We will conclude our service with Aleinu. I forget the page.
282.
282? Look at that. You all have it memorized. Please rise for Aleinu.
גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שם לנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורר עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. I'm going to go grab our list of word sites. It's over there. Well, there's a list with who who belongs to whom. That's important. One of our traditions here is to really recognize and honor those who in our community are connected to those who passed away. That collective memory is vital. And so when you hear the name of your loved one, if you feel comfortable, you may rise in their honor and their memory. We are observing Shloshim for Mary Adler, sister-in-law of Arnold and Mira Adler, and Michael Simons, dear friend of the community. The yard sites tonight are Shawnee Perry Abovitz, cousin of Rachel Perry, Susan Boyer, sister-in-law of Susan Kibble, Matthew Brunton, Lori Cable, wife of Dr. William Cable, Mackenzie Conway, sister of Debbie Pinkham, Elaine Davis, sister of Linda McCaney, Louise Elliott, grandmother of Susan Wellborn, Wayne Holman, Michelle Ifra, Dorothy Jaskolek, Patricia Marks, aunt of Heather Miller, Samuel Oster, Anna Elizabeth Paulson, mother of Eleanor Alswang, Judith Ruth Powell, remembered by Alan Powell, Ava Reeveson, sister of Heather Miller, Jack Schnitzer, remembered by Terry Schnitzer, Maida Schnoll, mother of Fred Schnoll, Morris Schultz, remembered by Susan Slonim, Lillian Schulman, mother of Maury Schulman, Carl Steiner, father of Bruce Steiner, Herman Stern, uncle of Martine Levin, Sidney Stutman, father of Harris Stutman, Charlotte Waldman, mother of Susan Wellborn, and Harry Waters, grandfather of Russell Wolf. As I pass my hand over the crowd, please feel free to add your names to this list as you rise. We ask that you all now please rise and turn to page 294 as we recite the mourner's Kaddish, remembering those who have no one to say Kaddish for them and supporting our mourning friends. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah ve'amad yivrach yirutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael v'agalal v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah Barak Le'olam Omeimaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei v'yitasham v'yitchu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu be'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'roma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu be'al kol Yisrael. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel and to all who dwell on earth, to which we say,
Amen.
Zichronam Libracha, may their memories be for a blessing. You may be seated, unless, of course, you are the board of directors representative.
Just take it off the stand.
Oh yeah, you do need it again. I'll put it back. First off, and forgive my accent here, just wanted to say, Toda Rabba Barak. We are very much honored by your presence, and you enhanced our Shabbat. You did not destroy it at all. Thank you. Also, I wanted to thank Jenna Sagan, as always, and also forgive my accent, Brigitte Bellavoine, on the piano. Good, I got it right the first time. I did take French in high school. And then we have several things coming up. I'm getting there, Alice. Don't tell me to wrap it up. I'm not Bernie Kessler. Upcoming, we have on Sunday bagels and blintzes under the Sukkah at 12 p.m. Come here and have a lovely time with us. Food and discussion with our wonderful cantor. And also, just because I want to say this, Wafty and Bitsy, Sundays in the Sukkah. That's fun to say. That's Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Beth David Sukkah. We have Yisker service Tuesday, October 14th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. And then, of course, one of my favorite times of the year, our Simchat Torah celebration on Wednesday the 15th at 6 p.m. Shabbat Shalom and Modim L'Simcha. Ushers, yes. Also, thank you to Brian Sinclair and Mark Woodhammer. Mark, even if Mark wasn't an usher, he's the glue that holds us together. Shabbat Shalom, Modim L'Simcha.
And for anyone who may not be familiar with, we thank John Tice, who is our board of directors representative for the evening. You did say you would put it back, but it's okay, I got this.
One more announcement. Maybe,
Yes.
Maybe about next week.
What about next week?
Where is it
Oh.
going to be? Don't come here.
Don't come here next Friday on the 17th. We are at Beth David next week. We are shutting down here. All of us will be at Beth David. The week after, they're shutting down and coming to us. So we have two opportunities, one on each side. That service will be at 7:30. Ours is, of course, at 7 at the end. So we've got, keep that in mind. I'm on the watch for your weekly email. All those important things. We will not be here next week. We will be shut. Go to Beth David.
Now, the good news is if you forget, and you get here at 7 o'clock, you have plenty of time to get there for 7:30.
For those of you on the live stream, Mark made the joke, hey, you get here at 7, you're wrong. You still have a half hour to get over there. You're good. Yeah. Simchat Torah was already announced. It is this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It is here. It is here. And but he was kind of quiet about it. So it is at 6 o'clock here. We roll out the whole Torah. It is really a fun night. We dance, we sing, we celebrate. We honor that we've made it through, thank God, another year. And we're starting it again.
And that's at what time?
6 p.m. 6 p.m. You said it. And yes, there is Hebrew school from 5 to 6. We did it on purpose. So we are going to conclude our service with Turn, Turn, Turn. Lots of fun, because there is a season for everything. We read Kohelet during this time of year. Then we will have Kiddush and Motzi. And then, are we noshing in the social hall? Yeah, we're going to nosh in the social hall. So after we give our blessings, join us in the social hall for the nosh. You can take it back out here, but get the sweets inside. It's delicious. Turn, turn, turn. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plan. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And the time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace. A time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to love, a time to mend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. We now welcome up those who are confirmation age and below to come help me with Kiddush and Motzi.
Everybody rise, please.
I was gonna get it. John, my shaliach over here, please rise. 1, 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'yatzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'yahavanu ratzonu v'yanu, zikaron l'maseh Bereshit, Yom Tehillah, Lemikol Kodesh, Ze'er Tzion, Mitzrayim, Kimanu b'harta, V'tanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, V'shamat kodshcha, V'ahava u'ratzon, V'naltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Down a little. Okay, let's open that. Come on, you guys. What's under the sheets? All right. 1, 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, potei amon.
B'te'avon, everyone. If you still have your prayer books, please pass them back to the ushers. There is a rolling cart. And if you have not yet shaken the lulav and the etrog, although it is Shabbos, we are Reform. And so there are 2 sets of lulavs and etrogs over on that table. So feel free to come shake after you get an ash. Shabbat shalom.